And it was a big day, big night for the Army last night. Army Reserve Officer Deshauna Barber, she was crowned Miss USA 2016. She impressed the judges with the Q&A portion of the pageant, particularly about her answer about women and their role in military combat. Take a listen.
We are just as tough as men. As a commander of my unit, I'm powerful. I am dedicated. And it is important that we recognize that gender does not limit us in the United States Army.
Joining me now, Carl Higbee and Jessie Jane Duff. Before we talk about presidential politics, let's talk about Miss USA for a moment, Jessie Jane, because we've had this discussion before. The new Miss USA very adamant that women could do very well on the front lines in a combat role. What do you think?
Well, she's a lieutenant who's on reserve duty that reports once a month on a weekend. I am very disappointed that this was an ideal opportunity for her to stand up and stand for the enlisted women who would die in mass quantity in combat if that were implemented. And in this case, she's missing the entire data. Women have 45% less muscle mass, 20% less lung capacity. Yes, we're as mentally tough as men, but all data demonstrates that the women are performing at the bottom 25 percentile with men in infantry units. We're setting them up for failure. Her speech, what she said was perfect. If she had just closed it with, we should not lift a blanket policy without evaluating this closer, because this isn't about equality, people. This is about combat readiness, and the mission is first. That would have gotten just as much applause, and people would have celebrated her for defending the women that have to go out there and perform with these men, because hand-to-hand combat, there is no equality in it. The men will decimate women in hand-to-hand combat.
All right, and real quick, Carl, you think she was just out of bounds? She spoke out of school to a certain degree.
Oh, yeah. And like, first off, she just hit the nail on the head. And also the fact is, she spoke in a fairly official capacity there. She said she referenced her title, she referenced her position, the branch of service. You cannot legally do that. I know this because I tried to do it with my book, and I separated myself with no involvement on an actual level. You cannot speak out on official policy like that. The military is not a social experiment.